Hello, welcome to the 4 o'clock session. My name is Sandy Knudson, and I live in Norman, Oklahoma. And for those of you that have been with me earlier today, thank you for your participation. For those of you that are new to me, I have spent 30 years in an elementary music classroom. I have worked with a community choir for 30 years. It used to be Norman Children's Chorus. Now it's Oklahoma Youth Sing. And I have taught for 30 years in the Kodai certification program, teaching solfege, choir, and conducting at the University of Oklahoma. I love working with teachers. I've had 26 student teachers and numerous interns with my community choir. And my handouts are at the top of the chat in PDF format. So several people have asked if I would share the PowerPoint presentations, and I am not. I'm just sharing the handouts because the PowerPoints are basically taking what's in the handouts and putting it in a colorful format. So the title of this session is Creating Community with Collaborations. And I've had the opportunity through my community chorus to do lots of collaborations. And I'm an active member of my church. We have collaborated with my church. We have collaborated with the university. We have collaborated with Norman Public Schools. And so I just want to throw some ideas out there. I'm hoping that you will participate in the chat. The more ideas that you bring to the table, the better our session will be, because I'm just going to give you some examples of things that we have done, but this may spark some ideas or bring to mind collaborations that you have done yourselves. So I'm going to go ahead and begin and talk about creating community with collaborations. So one of the ways that we have brought collaboration to our programming is to invite an alum to perform a solo or to be featured with the choir. Since we've been around for 30 years, we have some alum. I have one alum who graduated from North Texas with a degree in trombone performance and music education, and went to Rochester to Eastman to do his master's. And now he's back in Denton, Texas, teaching elementary music. He is a wonderful person that I keep in touch with. And I love it when he can come and play his trombone with us. We had a 6-year member of our community chorus, Emma, and she was studying at OU for her master's in opera performance. And so I asked her if she would be willing to come and perform with us. And she said yes. And we were doing some children see him. We were doing some of the Alfred Burt carols, and she sang the solos on some children see him. Then she sang a solo on I'll Be Home for Christmas. She also, before that end of the concert, she sang O Mio Babino Caro and brought the house down. Also, she and her vocal coach came to one of our rehearsals for the last 30 minutes, and she performed and he performed, and they talked about opera and the human voice to the students, and the students were able to ask them questions. So I was lucky enough to have her opera coach's son in my ensemble. So there are a lot of crossovers being in a university town, but this was very, very well received. And because we had somebody like Emma as a guest, then we had a fabulous press release with her picture and a feature article about her coming to sing with us. So I know, some of you may not have the history of 30 years, but you certainly have alumni that come and go and graduate through your program. And many of them continue in music in some way. So think about ways that you can invite them back. Another thing that we like to do quite often is invite our parents to sing with us. And sometimes we just feature our dads, and we don't limit it to dads. We say dads, grandparents, brothers, uncles, but they need to come to at least one rehearsal with us, and then the dress rehearsal as well. There's a lovely arrangement of Away in the Manger. And in the handout, I have put the arranger, but it has both of the Away in the Manger tunes. The Away in a manger, no crib for a bed, but it also has Away in a manger, no crib for a bed. And there's a lovely place where the dads come in with our choristers. We've also had our moms come join us for a couple of Irving Berlin songs, Count Your Blessings, from White Christmas, and also I'm Dreaming of a White Christmas. And the year we sang that, we almost couldn't have our concert because we had a tremendous snowstorm. I was like, beware of programming songs like Let It Snow, Let It Snow, Let It Snow. We also have had them sing with us on the Christmas song, Chestnuts Roasting on an Open Fire. We've brought them up on stage with us several times, and my choristers just love to have their parents on stage. We can also invite the audience to sing along with us. And this is an idea that I got from Nick Page. Nick Page is a fantastic leader of community singing. He lives in the Boston area. And if you've ever been to sing along with Nick Page, you will never forget it, because he's absolutely magical. So he has written a book about singing, and he just presented lots of different ideas. Something as simple as Jean Ritchie's Peace Round. What a goodly thing if the children of the world could dwell together in peace. You can quickly teach that to your audience. Your children can be circled around the audience and sing it in around and invite your audience to join along. There's a lovely piece by Daniel Coleman called Won't You Sing Along? And there's a place for the treble choristers to sing and the audience to echo. Of course, the favorite one, arranged by Fred Bach, Peace, Peace, which is a partner song that goes with Silent Night. So our choristers are singing Peace, Peace. You can add handbells, and the audience is singing Silent Night. There are several versions of songs where you can bring in the audience on Silent Night. Another one is called Night of Silence. So I tried, even in my elementary school programs, to involve the audience with one song. And I try to involve our audience a lot with my community choir. So those are people that are right there at your fingertips, your alumni, your parents, your audience. I'm always trying to involve one of those or all three of those in my programming. Another thing I like to do is in November, we usually program a time to have a concert with an adult choir. My students are all treble voices, except we have added a new ensemble with changed voices for our young men. So we have a high school ensemble now. but I always collaborated with one of the local high schools or with the University of Oklahoma, one of their chamber ensembles, to do a November concert. So this is even before we do our winter concert in December. And we usually have, it's very short and sweet, because sometimes it's the first time out for our training choir, and it's the first time out for all of our ensembles for that season. So we pick a piece that will work well and that we can do some treble voices with adult voices. The song Winds of Peace, which is a canon arranged by Nancy Grundahl, is a fabulous piece, and we've done that several times with adult choirs. Non nobis domine, or any canon, can work well. So you would have maybe the children's choir come in first, and then the women from the adult choir come in second, and then the men come in third. Ashlusha Divarim by Alan Naplin is a partner song. So, the children sing the first section, and then maybe the adults sing the partner song, and then we put it together. Even taking a gospel piece like Praise His Holy Name by Keith Hampton, the students, the young students, can just sing the soprano part, and you can flesh it out SATB, and they love that. So there are many, I probably have a list of 20 to 30 songs that we have used with our adult choir collaboration. And here's the other important thing. I make sure that I work in time in our dress rehearsal for my students to go up and shake hands with at least 5 or 6 of the adult choir members. So I teach them how to do that, and then COVID happens and we're not supposed to shake hands. But we didn't have this concert last November, obviously. But I want them to learn how to come up to an adult and say, "Hi, my name is so-and-so. I have been singing with NCC or OY Sing for a year. Thank you so much for singing with us on this concert. I like your tuxedo," whatever they want to say. And it's lovely to see the buzz of conversation if you can just allow 5 to 10 minutes for the students to interact with the adults. The other thing that I say to my young choristers is, please listen. This is what your voice will sound out like when you mature, as you get older. This is what your voice will sound out. You'll have some vibrato. You'll have a voice change for both men and women. So this concert is very short. What we usually do is the training choir does a couple of pieces. My choir does a couple of pieces. Our third ensemble does a couple of pieces. The adult choir maybe does 4 pieces, maybe 5. Varied genre that's kind of fun for the kids to hear. And then we do 2 combined pieces at the end. So this concert maybe ends up being 40 minutes max. And we have the students sitting in the audience while the adults are singing, and vice versa. So it's a great collaboration. We've also had the opportunity of calling on different ensembles from the University of Oklahoma. So the OU Trombone Choir is world famous at OU with Dr. Irv Wagner, and he very graciously took about 3 or 4 octavos, and we talked through an arrangement, and he transcribed the arrangement for his trombone choir, and we had a fantastic collaboration. The OU Percussion Ensemble did the same thing. Dr. Andrew Richardson, who's in charge, sat down with me and we took 3 or 4 octavos and he arranged them for the percussion ensemble. And when I'm talking percussion ensemble, I'm talking about a whole stage full of percussion instruments, marimbas and glockenspiels and all of the things. And we had to do that at OU, obviously, because of their equipment. We have collaborated with other youth choirs and done a benefit concert for a local food pantry or for Food and Shelter for Friends or Big Brothers and Big Sisters, and invited another youth choir either from the metro area in Oklahoma City or the Tulsa area to come over and join with us. And again, it's a short concert because we feature a few pieces for our group. They have a few by themselves, and then we do 1 or 2 together. We have called on dancers to come join us. The first time this happened, it was kind of serendipitous. I had a piece that was lovely in 6/8 called I See the Moon. And I was trying to get the kids to feel that metric accent. And I was demonstrating waltzing to them. And one of my choristers came up and said, my older brother and sister do ballroom dancing and they do demonstrations. Would you like them to choreograph this song? And I said, I would love for them to choreograph the song. So I sent home the song and a recording of the song, and the brother and sister did a fantastic demonstration of a waltz as we sang this piece. So I thought, wow, what a great visual element to bring in dancers. And we have one of the top dance schools in the country. OU is like one of the top 3. So we have contacted graduate students or undergraduate students who are working at the University of Oklahoma and asked them to be a guest artist on a piece, or to choreograph or stage some things for us. So that has been a really fun new thing for us. We also worked with a folk band several times, and it's called the Ladies That Play Folk Band. And we did Handel's Art Thou Troubled, and I just took the string quartet parts and gave that to them, and they reworked it for mandolin, flute, and violin. We did the Spanish A la nanita na na nanita ea nanita ea with guitar, violin, and flute. And we did a whole entire concert for the Organization of American Kodály Educators of folk tunes. And I'll share that program with you in just a moment. So this is just another thought, just to stage a piece, just with a little bit of pantomime. We did a song about winter time, and so we had 3 students that put on scarves and mittens and hat and pantomimed making a snowman, and just added a little visual interest to act out some of the words. Sometimes we'll just add a little bit of movement on the risers, or have a small group doing a game. We always like to invite instrumentals to play. And one year we called our winter concert Christmas Cards for You. And so we asked for family pictures and made a PowerPoint of all the pictures of our families from their Christmas cards and played that before the concert. So again, just looking for visual interest. We have a very visual society right now. So the whole concept of a traditional concert with everybody standing on the risers in their uniform no longer fits our paradigm. We need to add some things of visual interest. Another thought that I have is just to always have a theme. No longer call it the winter concert or the spring concert. And my inspiration for that is an article by Emily Ellsworth called Concert Programs as Storytelling. And it's found in the June or July 2019 Choral Journal. So one closing thought before I show you the ladies at play is, at the very least, invite an instrumentalist or a guest artist of some kind. So this is where you come in, and I'm going to stop sharing this. And I would love for you to bring some of your ideas to the table, and then I'm happy to share some samples of programs. I don't have video clips and things like that. I didn't get that fancy. I could certainly talk about this more, or give you copies of sample programs, or refer you to some video clips. But I threw a lot of ideas out there with you, and so I'd like for you to type in the chat other ideas or other instances where you have actually used collaboration, even within the church. I know there are lots of times where all of the choirs of the church sing together, especially at Easter and Christmas. But can you think of other ideas of bringing in visual interest, bringing in special people from your university community or your educational community, other choirs in the area, or ideas that you have for collaboration? Even ideas of great pieces to involve the audience. So like I said, this session will only be as long as your contributions here. I'm also happy to answer questions about specific pieces or specific things that I have mentioned throughout this. This was a new idea for me. I have never done a workshop on collaborations. It was something that I had included in some of my other workshops, and I thought, this is a topic worthy of our discussion. We need to talk about how we build community by inviting other people to be with us. Of course, COVID has made it very, very difficult for us to do that. All of those kinds of things were suspended last year. Your ideas. Your questions. Are there any takeaways, things that you want to follow up on? Okay, our chorale has the children join them each spring. The children sing 2 or 3 pieces alone, then 2 with the adults, always a themed concert. Fantastic. Is that a chorale at church or at the university? Or your chorale, your community choir? We do have a community choir called the Norman Singers, and we have collaborated with them several times. They have invited us multiple times to join them for larger works and sometimes hire an orchestra. What are several of your favorite themes? Our chorale is an auditioned community choir. Great. I am really going to share some of the things that Emily brought to mind. Emily Ellsworth was the director of the Glen Ellen Children's Chorus in Chicago. Then they renamed it Anima. And she has since retired from that ensemble, but she continues to be a fantastic guest conductor. She conducted the National ACDA Children's Choir in Kansas City in the fantastic Hellsberg Hall and did such a beautiful job. She has talked about all sorts of different kinds of themes, and so we have followed up on those themes. One of the things that she talked about was involving her families, and so she is the one who inspired me to collect pictures of the families, because she asked for pictures of their choristers' families just doing things that they love, and they had a whole theme of generations, bridging the generations. And so they sang, some of the lovely pieces, like 3 quotes from Mark Twain that talks about, my mother is always frustrated with me, those kinds of things. So she had our Anima family, music in our lives. So she had photos of Anima singers as individuals and groups. Then she had family at home. So they had some lullabies and they had some playful pieces. And then lessons from our elders. There were some beautiful, Stephen Sondheim's piece about listen to the children. And then she had recognition of their graduating seniors. And then the human family closed with some pieces that talk about our togetherness across the world. So that was one of her ideas that sparked ideas for me. We did Christmas cards for you. And what inspired me for that was I went to the Wichita Art Museum, and there was an Americana room. And in this Americana room was like an antique sled and an antique doll and some things from early American homes. And I immediately thought of Currier and Ives. I don't know why, but I kept thinking of the Christmas cards with the Currier and Ives scenes at home. And so I came home and started looking for pieces that would talk about home and family. And so our whole theme was called Christmas Cards for You. And we started with the PowerPoint of our families, and we candles. I'm going to have to go pull that program. We did a song about Granny that was from Ruth Dwyer's series. We did some of the Alfred Burt carols. We did some Children See Him. We asked a small ensemble of elementary music teachers to come and sing one of Alfred Burt's carols a cappella. We closed with I'll Be Home for Christmas and Chestnuts Roasting on an Open Fire. So we were just talking a lot about family and Christmas time, gathered around the hearth with candles and all of those kinds of things. We have done let me go grab my program book. I can put my hands on it right away, and I'll give you some of my themes, because we have done a lot of creative things. I'll be right back. All right. I can answer more intelligently now. So that one that I was speaking of, Candles in Our Hearts, Christmas Cards for You. We did Zion's Walls, Come Fathers and Mothers Come, Sisters and Brothers Come. We did Bashana Haba'ah, which is a song by Nurit Hirsch that talks about how good it will be in the coming year when I see my family gathered together. We did Hope is a Hidden Star by Mark Patterson. So it was a lot about hope and family. And we staged Candles in Our Hearts because it talked about different scenes in the snow. Our training choir sang Toyland. So we just had a great variety of repertoire for that one. This past year, we weren't able to be in person. And so we did a video project, and the first one was called How Can I Keep From Singing? And we did all sorts of songs about singing. And then our second one was called Hopes and Dreams. And we closed with If Wishes Had Wings and by Caldwell Ivory. And we also closed with I Sing Because I'm Happy by Rollo Dilworth. We have done Let There Be Peace in Our Homes. And so that was a perfect one to close with Peace, Peace. And some of our spring themes have been kind of whimsical. I'm trying to think of the one that's coming to my mind that I'm trying to pull out of my memory. It had something to do with nonsense. We did a lot of nonsense songs like Rizzledy, Rozzledy, and different things. I am going to share this picture of my friends, the ladies at play, and the program that we did with that really quickly. So these are the ladies at play. They are a dance band, a folk band. And they play for our dances. They play for our contra dance and English country dances. And they have jigs, reels, polkas, waltzes, hombos. And I don't even know how to say that other word there, but there's Miranda on the flute, and Kathy is all the fretted instruments. And then Shanda is on the violin. And we had lots of folk tunes that they played along with. So we started with Now I Walk in Beauty, which is a Navajo prayer. We did The Singing School, which is a traditional American folk song. We did The Ash Grove. We did Down in the Red River Valley, Pat Works on the Railway, A Nini, Rattle My Rattle by Woody Guthrie, and Route 66, and closed with 3 fiddle tunes and added a dance to it. And I worked with them. They didn't play on every single piece, but they played on probably 85% of the pieces. And we arranged each one. You know, I would play a recording for them, and I said, this is what I want. So on Now I Walk in Beauty, Miranda started with a Native American flute, and it was fantastic. So this took a lot of collaboration. I went to their studio and actually worked with them on one day, but it was very rewarding to have them part of the program. And it was very well received. And they will never forget it either. They said, we had no idea what you had in mind when we started on this project, but now we are so glad that we did it because it was amazing. So I hope that answered some of your questions about themes, Becky. And I know I just went to the Norman Singers concert in July because they just started up in April and just did a concert in July, and it was supposed to be ready for Earth Day, but they did songs centered around Earth Day. So songs about rain and different things like that. It was a beautifully themed program with different pieces about the earth. So it was fantastic. All right. Any other comments? I know it's just 4:30, but I was just thinking this would be a short, thoughtful and intentional sharing of ideas, of never calling it a winter concert or a spring concert ever again, but looking for some kind of theme that runs through it and ties it all together. And then thinking about bringing in some visual interest, whether it's a dancer. We did Dance While the Music Sings to You by Greg Gilpin, and that was the one that my friend Katie completely choreographed, and it was absolutely beautiful for what she did for that piece. We also did some video elements, obviously, during this COVID time to bring some visual interest to some of our pieces as well. So hopefully you have an idea. The handout has all those ideas listed on it. Maybe it will spark a creative theme, just like Emily's article sparked a theme in me. Another place I got inspiration is going to art museums. So after I went to the Wichita Art Museum, I thought, we have an art museum here in Norman. I have a friend who's a docent. I think I'm going to go stroll through the museum and pick 9 pieces of art that I could put a program around. And I contacted the director of the museum and asked for high quality, high resolution pictures of those pieces of art. And that was the concert that we never got to finish because of COVID. That was supposed to be our April concert when everything shut down middle of March. So look for inspiration outside of your field. Go to an art museum, go to a dance recital, go to a concert of a university ensemble, and then reach out and say, would you consider playing with my choir? Would you consider sitting down with me and arranging a piece for your ensemble and my choir? So, Becky, it's been a pleasure interacting with you. Thank you for all your questions. And if there are no further questions, we'll just go ahead and stop this broadcast. It'll be a short and sweet, inspirational one to end your day. And so maybe you can hop on to somebody else's session. So thank you for your participation and your attention. And thank you, Samuel, for being a facilitator. And all the best to you. Share your themed ideas with me. It's great to share ideas.